Okay, everybody. So we are now to the CSS video for the TicTacToe game, and I'm just going to do a little disclaimer on the CSS here, since this video is supposed to be primarily focused on the JavaScript itself and the aspects of the game and the logic and all that. I'm not going to go completely crazy in depth into all of the individual things that I'm doing with the CSS on this. I will point out though where something is dynamically being created or applied with JavaScript. So, like for example, we will actually do some dynamic application of styles or class names to the boxes and things like that as we play the game using the JavaScript later on. So I will go over that, but like I'm not going to really get completely into like Flexbox or any of that kind of stuff beyond just showing you kind of what I'm doing, where I'm doing it here. I will do some videos more specifically to, I think, Flexbox and float and positioning and all of that in CSS at a later date. So, stay tuned for those as well. Anyways, so just to get started here, we're gonna go ahead and clear out the background here, and I'm just gonna do some real basic like margin 0, all that kind of good stuff, just to get things sort of universal here. All right. Box. Okay. Let's see. That takes care of that. Okay. So now we're gonna get into the container. So I went ahead and I left the HTML open here so that we can see as I'm doing the CSS, you can see what I'm trying to reference as I do this here. So we're going to do for the container itself. In this case, I'm just going to use straight pixels for the dimensions. But again, you could use percentage, VM, EMs, whatever you wanted to, depending on what you were trying to do. But for this case, I'm just going to make the thing a width of 300 pixels because I want it to be a fixed width. So. And now some of these things like the overflow hidden and things like that were things that I just added as I was playing around with it when I built this the first time and found that I needed to have an overflow hidden or needed to align something as a text align center versus left or what the margin setting was and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of that I'm just gonna go ahead and put in because I spent a lot of time just playing around with that to get things the way I liked it. But this will be the CSS for what you saw in that initial video. So. Cool. Right. And then for that, so the span inside the container. I'll just do margin bottom because I'm only doing the margin on the one spot. Okay, and then all right, now for the boxes. And again, you can, make the background color whatever you want. It doesn't have to be gray or anything. So if you want yours to be, some specific color, by all means, you can change that as we go along. And also feel free to play around with the font sizes, alignments, all that kind of stuff as well. So you can style it however you like. Okay. And now for that hover effect that I showed earlier. So for that, we're just going to do pseudo class here. Was 139. 84. Right. And the button container. All right. And to be honest, I probably should have just cut and pasted most of this so that it saved time. But I figured this way it hopefully be easier for anyone who's kind of typing along to follow along and type as I'm doing it as well. So, and feel free to speed up or slow down the video as you need to. I mean, if you already are familiar with all the CSS styling, by all means, you can skip this part, do your own styling. If you're not though, and you want to kind of do this one at a time, pick and choose, see how things are affecting things as it's being typed. By all means, please feel free to do that. So now just to the button here, we're going to go ahead and just do the background, and we'll make that gray. And yeah, I did kind of jump between hexadecimal and a few other things here as well. So yeah. Okay, so the next part we're going to get into are going to be the dynamically applied classes that I was talking about. So for this, what we're going to do is we're going to create some classes that are going to be for both win and loss. And then those will be applied based off of certain conditions that we're going to put forth using JavaScript in the next video here. But we're going to go ahead and just create those now. So these I am actually going to go ahead and just cut and paste just to make it a little bit easier. And I'll just kind of talk you through it here. Okay. So what I've done here is I've created a class that's just called win. That's going to apply this as a background color, and this is a text color here. And then when you hover over it, it will of course change to these colors as well. And when we go to loss, what it's going to do is it will apply to any of the non-winning sections, it's going to make those transparent, and that's going to be that effect that you saw in the first video, where when you won, it would just display the 3 columns, rows, or diagonal boxes that had the winning tic-tac-toe thing, right? Is that what it's called? I'm not even sure what that's called, to be honest. But basically, the winning boxes. It's going to just display those, and it's going to make everything else be transparent. So cool. So that's what we'll be doing. Like I said, we'll be applying those dynamically in the JavaScript in the next video. So that should be it for the CSS. Let's go ahead and just save that real fast and make sure that it is showing on screen. And cool, there we go. So now, as you can see, we have the CSS. Of course, if we click anything right now, it's not going to do anything because we don't actually have it being told to do anything. And we'll do that with the JavaScript here in the next video. So up to this point, this is what we should have. And like I said, of course, you can change the colors if you want to. You can change the size a little bit if you wanted to, any of that kind of stuff. You could also do this using grid instead of float. You could also probably do it with Flexbox. Yeah, you could as well. But then, of course, if you change the size or do something like that, it could do some unexpected things. So that was why I did it the way that I did it this way. But yeah, so that is pretty much it for the CSS for this game. And yeah, so we will go ahead and move on to the JavaScript video, and I will see you then. Thank you.